tap into your infinite inner knowledge for the purpose of expressing yourself more fully, and you are not quite sure how to go about it, click on the link below and book a session with myself and my spiritual team, and we would be honored to help you on your journey. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is first time being here, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you find what you're looking for. Even the fact that this video has landed in front of you means that there is likely something in here for you. It may not, I'm just turning down the music. It may not appear to you that the way you are expecting it to appear. Nonetheless, if you come with an open mind and with an open heart, I truly believe that whatever will be delivered through my voice, through me as a vehicle, has the potential to reach you deep inside in order to help you transform your own inner limitations. So if you are into that sort of thing, if you are desiring to transform yourself, which will ultimately help you transform your life, so that you can live and experience life to the fullest, then I do hope you stay. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. It helps to spread this information to more people, and the more individuals that choose to express their higher potential, their highest potential, the more we as individuals begin to embody the idea that we are all part of one, or all that is. And as a result of that, the world ultimately becomes a better place. But that can only happen through individuals' desire to transform from within. And I believe I was put on this earth, and it's becoming more and more apparent to me that I was put on this earth in order to facilitate spiritual alchemy, which is nothing more, nothing less than the act of inner transformation, inner healing, in order to free ourselves or free parts of ourselves that no longer serve us, that keep us stuck, that keep us limited, that keep us believing that we are less than or unworthy, or whatever limitations we hold about ourselves, whatever beliefs we hold as deep truths. Please click the like button. Again, subscribe. It tells you when I upload new information. And more than anything, thank you for choosing to be here, spending your time with me. For those of you who are returning, thank you once again for being here. Without you, there would be no audience, which means there would be no need for me to do this. And I've said this many times before, and I will continue saying it. Doing what I do helps me become a better person. It helps me reach deep inside of me in order to see my own greatness, so that I can share that information with you, so that you can see your own greatness. Because greatness, you already are. You don't have to apply for it. You don't need to have permission. You don't need to seek it out. You are already that. My job is simply to be a reminder for you of just that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus primarily on some of the areas that you might be focusing on in terms of your own inner transformation. And I will briefly talk about the collective, what we are going through as the collective, human collective, and then I will do 3 individual piles that will have more of a specific message for you. Of course, whichever pile you are drawn to intuitively. And I always encourage you to use your intuition. That is my primary goal, to help you be more in tune with your own inner guidance, because you have one. We all have one. And whatever you're drawn to, there is a very high likelihood that there is something in the message for you. You may be drawn to more than one pile. You may be drawn to all 3 piles. If that's the case, just see what resonates with you, and whatever doesn't resonate with you, just put it aside in some box somewhere in the back of your mind and see if it potentially makes sense to you down the road, which is usually often the case. My primary work these days is with what is being shown to me as a galactic council of light. There are other names for it, and these are basically beings of higher vibrations that are congregating together in order to help us as humanity to reach higher level of consciousness. And it gives me tremendous pleasure to connect with these frequencies, because when I do, they make me feel like I am at home. It is a very familiar place somewhere in my heart. And it is essentially where we all come from. We just don't remember. So if this is a new material for you, if this is new type of information for you, then it's very exciting. It means that you are here, you are ready to hear and assimilate or integrate this information in order for you to become more of the true you. The true you being greatness. And there's probably nothing that gives me more pleasure in seeing someone embodying their greatness by being able to realize that they are that, and then working through their old conditionings that are of limited nature, transforming those in order to embody this greatness. Because what stands in the way of us embodying and therefore experiencing this greatness is our own limitations, our own limited beliefs we have about ourselves. So I'm just going to jump right in and start with the message for the collective. And as a collective, what we are going through right now is looking at the things that we are holding on to. And the things that we hold on to are always from the past. Or I will say almost always. I try to not go into absolutes, because there's always, there's always something that's not 100%. But generally when we hold on to something, that something is from the past. And many of us humans, I would even dare to say vast majority, holds on to the past within our own framework of our inner conditioning, and conditioning is rooted in the past. We have a tendency to hold on to things from the past. And here's a bit of an analogy. If you are trying to make your way forward, but you are holding on to your past, then A, moving forward becomes difficult, and B, you're dragging your past forward with you, which means you are continuing to live in the past even though you are moving forward. So if we are all holding onto things from the past that are of limiting nature, then that simply means that as we continue to move forward, and everything always moves forward, that's continuation of life. It's always moving forward. There's never going back. As we continue to move forward, the more we hold on to the past of the limiting nature, the less we are able to experience more of life. Pretty standard, right? Pretty self-explanatory. So we as humanity are being encouraged to look at what is within us in terms of what we believe, what we are hanging on to, and decipher, first of all, acknowledge that we do hold on to things. That's just a fact. There's no point in denying that, because denial does not help with the process of letting go. It just keeps us stuck for prolonged periods of time. So we are being encouraged to look what is within us right now in the present moment that is worth looking at and transforming, or integrating is probably a better word. So you are very likely someone who is trying to create your future while holding on to your past. And if the type of past you are holding on to is rooted in limited nature, then you will be dragging that limitation within yourself as you create your future. So you will create your future with more limitations. And if you are like most people, including myself, I would presume that you don't want to do that. Because I have never met a person who says, I want to be more limited. I have never met a person who said that. With all the years of work that I have done in professional setting with regards to helping others transform their life, I have never met a person who says, no, I want to stay limited and I want to continue being limited. I want to be more limited. It's always, I want to be more free. I want to express more of myself. I want to be more of myself. I want to experience more of life. So we are, as you probably already know, in a massive transition right now. And this transition is from an understanding that we are separate to more of an understanding and awareness that we are all part of one. And there is no separation. The only separation that we know of is the separation that is constructed by the human mind. Our human logical and analytical thinking. Now, some of you may already know, you may have already experienced the wondrous feeling of oneness. And the more we experience and embody the feeling of oneness, the more we begin to live from our heart. And the heart space knows nothing but love. Fear comes from the human mind, the human understanding, the logical, analytical aspect of being a human being. And that is not to say that logic is bad. It is absolutely necessary and fundamentally spectacularly good. It has many purposes, and one of the biggest purpose of having a human mind is to experience life from a human 3D mind perspective. But humanity is changing. as you probably have already seen and observed. And whether we are conscious of it or not, and I would say that many, maybe even majority people are not conscious of a change, but it would be hard to not notice that we are changing, because all you have to do is look on the outside and how much change we are going through on the outside. And as you know, or maybe you don't, what's within, so without, or as within, so without. In other words, the changes that are happening on the outside are directly reflective of the changes that are happening on the inside. So needless to say, humanity is going through a massive change, and we've been going through this for a while now, but it's becoming more and more apparent, probably to you listening to this. So you are being encouraged right now to look at yourself in terms of your own self-knowledge. What do you know about yourself in terms of who you are? Specifically in terms of who you are in terms of limitations. I'm not good enough. I'm not successful enough. I am unworthy. I am limited. I can't have this. I can't have that. I'm not supposed to. Whatever limitations you hold within yourself about yourself, you're being encouraged to look at that. And then ask yourself this one question, a very important question. Would I prefer to experience life either without those limitations or with a lot less of these limitations being part of my life? For example, just the other day, I did an exercise with my private coaching group, which, by the way, will be opening its doors for newcomers for a couple of weeks in the next 2 to 3 months. We did an exercise to connect with everyone's inner critic. Everyone has an inner critic, or at least I would say majority of people have what we call an inner critic. And the job of an inner critic, which is a part of who we are, is to criticize, right? And many would term criticism as something that's limiting, maybe even negative. Though I try to stay away from the idea of positive or negative, because at the end of the day, it's all part of an experience. But imagine for a second if you didn't have your inner critic, or if your inner critic reduced its function from 100% to 10%. In other words, if your inner criticism went down from 100% to 10%, how much more of life would you do differently? What would you allow yourself to do if you didn't have an inner critic? And your inner critic is very valuable. Generally speaking, when we encounter something that doesn't feel good, we want to push it away, we want to get rid of it, we want to erase it. And we cannot get rid of something that is part of who we are. The only thing that we can do is that we can transform it. We can alchemize it, if you will. And that's because every aspect of who we are, including the shadow aspect. And there's a very good video that I've done just a little while ago. It's down in a playlist about shadow work. Everything that is a part of us, including our shadows, is serving a purpose. In other words, it's of value. So we are being encouraged to look at these aspects of ourselves in order to A, recognize its value, and do whatever is necessary in terms of healing in order to transform a limited belief into something that's more expansive, something that is going to be more allowing for you to create more of life experiences in terms of prosperity, health, money, whatever you would like more of. Okay. And I always say, and this was something that I've experienced, not through my intellect, but through embodied experience. Everything we ever want exists in the etheric form, in a vibrational form, in a energetic form. It's all around us. And the only reason that we are not able to experience it in our 3D experience is because there is some belief or blockage or limitations we hold about whatever it is that we are wanting to experience, that is not allowing us to attract that into our life in a 3D form. It's as if to say, what you believe is what you get. If you believe that you are unworthy, for example, and I'm using this example because it's something that everyone understands, you are not going to deem yourself worthy to experience something grand. Now, you may not have this awareness on a conscious level, which is challenging, because if it's not in your awareness, then it's very difficult to work with it, to transform it. However, there is a fairly easy way to become aware of your limitations. All you have to do is look at your life and whatever you're struggling with, because whatever is your struggle, whatever it is that you are struggling with to get, to experience, to attain, to bring about to your 3D experience, generally is tied to what you believe. And when we are holding on to the past, which limitations come from our past, and we bring them in the now moment, and by the way, there's no past, there's no future, it's only moment, it's only now. And I know sometimes it's very difficult for the human brain to grasp that. But once we understand that there's no past and no future, it's only now, and your now is what creates the future. If you are holding on to experiences from the past in your now moment, those experiences from your past will either enhance or reduce your creation in the future. I'm hoping this is fairly straightforward and clear. On the other hand, if we are holding on to limitations, if we are holding on to our past, it restricts our flow of life. It restricts us being in the flow. And when we are restricted from being in the flow by holding on to our past, we effectively create what is called resistance. Because life is always moving forward. It never moves back, it always moves forward. It always progresses, it always expands. But if we are holding on to something and we don't allow ourselves to move forward in a different way, then we effectively create resistance. And more often than not, resistance is brought about or expressed as pain, psychological pain, emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain, mental pain. So one of the ways that you can look at this right now is your level of dissatisfaction with your life or whatever area in your life. And then ask yourself this question: what would make me feel more satisfied? What would make me feel more satisfied? And the answer would probably be, well, if I had more money, if I had a better relationship, if I had this, if I had that, if I felt this way, if I felt that way, whatever your answer is, then the next follow-up question has to be, then what is it within yourself that is not allowing you to do that or to have that? In other words, what is standing in your way of feeling more satisfied, feeling more happy, feeling more prosperous, feeling more abundant? You pick whatever resonates with you. And then decide to do something about it. And whether you do something about it or not, that decision is yours, 100% yours. And that's because no one can do it for you. It is an internal job. It's an inside job, as they say. And it's not like your path is written and somebody has written it for you, and now you have to follow a certain plan. You have free will, which means you have free will to change whatever circumstances within you are not allowing you to feel more prosperous, happy, satisfied, whatever the word is. Okay? And that's because we are in the process of hopefully leaving the old behind so that we can reach a new level of awareness, consciousness, and as a result, a new level of experience in our human form. And as you probably already know, mind is creative. In fact, all is mind. There is nothing but mind or consciousness. Now again, for some of you who are not familiar with this, that may be a difficult concept to grasp. If you are ever interested in diving more into understanding that, Hermeticism, or the principles of Hermeticism, or knowledge like Kabbalion, offer great insight into that. Okay? And because mind is creative, and you not only have a mind, you are mind expressing itself in a human form. Bear with me. And mind is creative, it then makes sense to assume that you are creator of your own life. And this is often when a lot of triggers will come up. Oh, what do you mean I'm creating this? I don't want this. What does that mean? I didn't create this. Not consciously. Or now they're saying over 95% of everything that we do is unconscious, which means we are unconsciously creative. We are unconscious creators. So if you are trying to experience a different life, different from what you have been experiencing, maybe in one area, okay? Maybe not completely different. Maybe you're very happy, but you just want to experience more of life. Not because there's something wrong with your current life, but you want to experience more of life. But generally speaking, majority of people have certain areas that they're being challenged by, and they would rather not deal with that challenge. Looking at what the challenge is and how you as creator contribute to this challenge, and that's going to be difficult for some people to grasp, because this is a tough one. This is a very tough one, because I'm speaking from a very high perspective. If you are dealing, for example, with a situation and you clearly didn't ask for it, hearing me say that you are contributing to it is going to raise your hair on your body and get you back up. And you might even be wanting to punch the screen, as in punching me in the face. You might even feel offended by that. But me saying this is not saying that you have consciously created your situation, but if you are dealing with something, then you are obviously part of it, and you play a part in it, likely unconsciously. So understanding the part you play in it will help you gain more authority over your life. And how many of you would like to have more authority over your life? Feel more in control of your life? More so than feeling perhaps like a victim, okay? And now, I always say, it doesn't mean that we have not been victimized. I would say most of us, if not all of us, have been victimized in some way, shape, or form at some point in our lives. Yes, very true. And I'm not saying that you've asked for it either. But there's something to gain always from any situation. Always. Whatever we have experienced, good or bad, there's always something to gain from it in terms of knowledge and awareness and wisdom. So you are being encouraged to look at life. Look at the choices that you are making, consciously or otherwise, and how these choices are contributing to whatever challenge you are experiencing, and recognize your part in it. Not to blame yourself, but to recognize your power in it. Okay, now I know this is going to be difficult for some people to grasp. You might get triggered. I am very good at triggering people, and that's because it's meant to trigger certain things. And when you are triggered, it means there is something inside of you that says, no, I don't want to hear this. Now, I'm not asking you to accept what I say, ever. Do not ever accept what I say as truth. But be open to it, be open to looking at it, be open to go, I haven't looked at it that way. Maybe there is something to it. And that's because the more we are willing to look at the hidden truth, the more we begin to regain our own power. And this generally doesn't happen with overanalyzing, because overanalyzing only goes so far. This generally happens as a result of deep inner work, conquest, and inner journey. So we are being encouraged to familiarize ourselves with our inner world. What is it that we truly believe? What is it that we are holding on to? What is it that we deem as unacceptable within us? Because all these limitations, all these limiting beliefs stand in the way of you not only acknowledging and being aware of your greatness, but more than anything, embodying your greatness. And I always say, if you believe yourself to be small, you're not going to experience big. Why? Because you will not allow yourself to do so. You will stand in your own way of experiencing greatness if you believe you are small. And believing that you are small, and I'm not talking about your physical stature, but rather your abilities to create. If you think of yourself as small or insignificant or inferior, you will stand in your own way of experiencing more of life. There is absolutely no question about it. And you can argue this point till you're blue in the face. It's not going to change the fact that how you see yourself is how you're going to create your life. My job is to remind you how powerful you are. In fact, you are so powerful, you are choosing on some level to see yourself as small or insignificant. And to forget the truth of who you really are. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful you are. So as we are in the process of leaving the old, moving on to the new, which is really about shifting gears or shifting into higher vibrations. In order to move higher up, if you will, and that's not a hierarchical thing, we have to lighten our load. In other words, if you decide to climb a mountain and you bring with you a whole bunch of stuff on your back, the more you climb up, the higher up you go, the more you will feel the weight of whatever it is you are carrying on your back. So it's time to lighten our loads. What are you carrying within you that is slowing you down or weighing you down? And as a result of being weighed down, you are not able to reach whatever it is you want to reach. And I'm not even talking about a physical destination. I'm talking about reaching a state of mind. If you are someone who deals with depression, for example, and most people have dealt with at some point in their lives, to one degree or another. And there's various reasons for depression. Of course, there's a chemical imbalance, all kinds of things come into play. But in my experience, and working in the arena of psychology, depression has a lot to do with depressed feelings and emotions. And if you have depressed or suppressed your feelings or emotions and you made it so that you don't think about it, you don't see it, then it's very difficult to get out of it. So oftentimes, at least in my experience, to effectively deal with depression, one of the ways, and there's many ways of dealing with it, I believe there's several prongs, if you will, not just one way, is to deal with what has been suppressed, what has been not dealt with from the past. What I'm hearing is some of you may have an inferiority complex, meaning you feel inferior, you feel less than. And if that's the case, you are going to hold yourself back naturally. You are going to suppress your power, and that can often lead you to feeling depressed. Okay, so that's what I have as far as the collective. Again, if this makes no sense to you right now, just have an open mind, put it somewhere in the back of your mind, and just see if it makes sense down the road. I'm being asked to mention again Hermeticism, Hermetic teachings, Thoth, or Thoth, I call him Thoth, is very much connected to Hermetic teachings. My understanding is that, and he's not an evil god. For some reason, I just heard he's not an evil god. So perhaps some people believe he's an evil god. Again, that's a perception for sure. Not to my understanding, and certainly not based on my experience with this being. His greatest joy is to help us feel more free in this life. And the freedom comes from within, not so much without. It is an internal freedom we are seeking that then translates into external freedom. And most people that are listening to this are free. Most, not everyone. You're not in prison, very likely. You are somewhere on your tablet or on your PC or on your iPhone or some other phone, some other device, roaming around freely in the world. But you may not feel free. You may feel stuck. You may not feel free in a situation. You may not feel free being yourself. And that's because you, on some way, are holding yourself back. So I'm going to move on to piles now. And you will pick pile 1, 2, or 3. Each one will give you a different message, a different perspective. And what I will be focusing on is what you might be going through right now personally. So it's a little bit more specific. And whatever messages want to be shared with you in order to help you deal with whatever you're dealing with and to ultimately help you regain your inner freedom. If you are desiring to tap into your infinite inner knowledge for the purpose of expressing yourself more fully, and you are not quite sure how to go about it, click on the link below and book a session with myself and my spiritual team, and we would be honored to help you on your journey. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Okay. So I'm now focusing on pile number 1, and right away, what I'm seeing is the heart and the words. What is in your heart in terms of pain? What sort of pain are you carrying within your heart? And this is not so much physical. This is more mental, emotional. And as a result of this pain in your heart, that may be the result of a breakup. It could be now, recent, or from long time ago. A hurt. We understand pain in the heart, right? Whatever pain you are carrying or harboring still, which means it has not been healed, it has not been released. Whatever pain is connected to in terms of a situation, you are still carrying that situation within your now as if it is happening today. In fact, it is happening today. If you are holding on to some pain in your heart, it effectively is today. So even though it might have happened as a result of something in the past, by it not being healed, it is in your now moment, it is in your present. And remember, your present is responsible for whatever you create in your future. Okay? Let yourself be free. What does that mean? In order to allow yourself to be free, you have to first acknowledge that you are the one and you have the power to let yourself be free. No one can do it for you. It is an inside job, and it requires you to understand that you have the ability to free yourself from this pain. You may not know how, you may not have the tools, you may not have the visibility to the different aspects of it. That is what other people are for, like myself, for example. But the best I or anyone can do, whether you are a therapist, a healer, whatever name you want to call, they cannot do it for you. They can facilitate the process. Even with energy healing, I can do energy healing on an energetic level. That's only one part. The aspect of the physicality, or doing the work on a physical level, on a human level, that has to happen with you, within you. But getting back to the original message, whatever pain you are carrying or harboring, the word is harboring. For some of you, it might be anger. Now, I'm not saying this for you to judge yourself or for this to be a judgment. Not at all. In fact, one of the things that I am learning and realizing that to be a higher vibrating being simply means to release all judgments about ourselves and other people. And the world is a very judgmental place. I see this even on my videos, in some of very few, very few, but even in some comments, how people judge what I do, how I look, how I show up. And that's the reflection of their own inner struggle. It has nothing to do with me. So what are you harboring? What pain are you harboring within your heart that is not allowing you to experience life to the fullest? Yes, you've been hurt before, without a doubt. But are you still harboring this pain? Are you still attached to this pain? Perhaps you are attached to this pain as a reminder to what never do again. That's one way of looking at it. But if you are attached to that pain, if you are holding on to it, you are effectively making it yours now. So you can't be pain-free. You can still be a person who makes sound decisions and sound choices with discernment, without having to hold on to your pain from the past, reminding you what not to do. It's a far more effective way to live life, but it requires you to heal that aspect of you that hasn't been healed yet. Because what I am seeing is you are likely in your own inner prison, trying to keep yourself safe, okay? And by keeping yourself safe, you experience your life relatively small, because you create these walls around you to keep you safe. And what do walls do? Walls separate. Walls divide. And perhaps you're afraid to come out. Perhaps it's been so long since you felt pain-free. It simply is familiar and, in a strange way, comfortable. And there's something to be said about familiarity. It offers a certain level of knowingness and stability, predictability, right? So you are being encouraged to look what you are holding on or harboring. The word is harboring within your heart in terms of your past experiences that has caused you pain, that have caused you pain. And I'm sure there are many, some bigger than others. And reflect at that and ask yourself, am I still holding on to this pain? And if the answer is yes, notice, how is it affecting you in your life right now? How is it affecting you in your relationships? How is it affecting you in terms of your exchange with another human being, with other humans? How is it affecting you in terms of trust and your ability to allow yourself to be vulnerable with somebody? Okay. Those are all things that you are being encouraged to look at, and then take action in order to clear out whatever is draining your own energy. Because the more we hold on to things from the past, the more we give that energy, which means we have less energy to focus on something that could be so much better, so much more, so much greater. Okay, so I'm going to ask with a card, here's what we have. What you have is being the mentors. So this is a message for those of you who are dealing with whatever I have been talking about in terms of harboring pain or inner conflict. And you are being guided to seek out people who can help you, individuals who can help you release yourself from your own internal prison. Okay? You are being encouraged to also share your experiences with others, as that is going to prove to be very helpful. The more we share with others, which could be in a group setting, which could be in a therapeutic setting, which could be in some other setting, the more we release some of that stored or stuck energy, effectively clearing it out of our system, of our bodies. Okay? Otherwise, if we just push it down, it's stuck. Another message is that there's going to be some of you, quite a few of you, I think, that are choosing to become mentors, are choosing to become teachers. And we are all teachers. We have teachers and we are teachers to others. And what does it mean to teach? To teach is simply to share knowledge. Perhaps for some of you, it's to share knowledge about your past in terms of your pain. And I keep hearing breakup. So for some of you, the pain that this is being referred to is as a result of a breakup. You haven't experienced a breakup, and it doesn't mean romantic necessarily. It's breakup of your parents, breakup of family, someone having left you, abandoned you, a broken relationship. Okay? And that has contributed to who you are and how it's shaped you. And you're being encouraged to use all that information in order to help another who may be in a similar position or similar situation, and they may not know how to get out of it. So you might be someone who has learned how to deal with your own pain, how to transform your pain, how to transform your shadow. And as a result of that inner transformation, you have gained knowledge, wisdom, you have accumulated many tools that you can then share with others. No different than what I do. I could not help you experience your own greatness unless I had to go and continue to go through my own journey of my inferiority and then working through it for many years and continue to do so in order to experience the other side of inferiority, which is greatness, which we all have. We all are. Every single one, every being is all part of greatness, okay? And has greatness within. You are also someone likely who has compiled a lot of knowledge and information, and you are ready to share this with others. Why would that be important right now? Because, as I said, humanity is going through a lot of change. There are and will be moving forward many, many, many people seeking help in ways they haven't sought help before. And some of this may be more conventional help, and some of it may be less conventional, which could be rooted more in the spiritual world. And you might be one of those people that will be of great help to those people who are starting to turn to other resources and sources for help because their standard way hasn't been working, or it's just something that they're being drawn to. And we're just at the very beginning of this. This is going to continue for quite a while. So if you are guided to being like a minister, I'm hearing the word minister, or a counselor, or a coach, or a social worker, or any type of a profession, a healer that facilitates healing in another, you are being encouraged to get on board with that right now. Because the world needs you more than ever. But, and here's a big but, you have to be first willing to acknowledge that you are good enough to step into those shoes. I'm saying acknowledge, which means you already are. I just saw something flow down the screen. I don't know if you saw it. You have to be willing to acknowledge that you are good enough to step into those shoes. You might not feel the confidence right now. That can come later. That will be cultivated. But if you struggle and believe that you are not good enough, then you will struggle stepping into these shoes. You will experience massive resistance, which in and of itself is beautiful, because you can then work on this resistance in order to help you shed light as to why you're resisting and do your shadow work. Okay? I'm going to pull another card to see what additional messages we have. But it's definitely pile one, a message of clearing out whatever is sapping up your own energy, whatever is taking your energy that could be used somewhere else. Okay? And if I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry. My job is just to bring the message home, whatever it takes. So if I repeat myself, I guess it's the principle of repetition that eventually sticks. Look at this. Observe limitations. Do you see that? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Spirit is saying to you, observe your limitations. What are yours? Because whatever limitations you are holding on to, you will make them real. because they're real to you. They're absolutely real to you. So you will create them real in your life. The question isn't, am I good enough? The question is, am I willing to admit to myself that I am, but I'm just, for whatever reason, not able to see it yet? Why? Because something is blocking your view of that. Your job is to familiarize yourself with what is that and why. Because there's always a reason. There's always a reason and purpose for your limitation. It might have served you some time ago, but you are now outgrowing it. Okay? On a more simple message, this is basically seeing that Spirit is bringing you messages right, left, and center that has to do with your limitations, your perceptions, your limited perceptions of yourself. Listen to it. Don't show your head anymore and say, I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it. That is effectively called denial. You not looking at it does not make them go away. As a matter of fact, it makes it be more persistent. Okay? So that's what I have for you. Pile number 1. If you are desiring to tap into your infinite inner knowledge for the purpose of expressing yourself more fully, and you are not quite sure how to go about it, click on the link below and book a session with myself and my spiritual team, and we would be honored to help you on your journey. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Okay, pile number 2. What I am seeing is an anchor, and you are pulling on this anchor, but this anchor is stuck. And you're working so hard, you're trying so hard, and nothing is working. And I'm watching this and I'm going, yeah, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, it's not going to make it feel less stuck. We have to find a different and or a new way of dealing with this. And I'm asking my team to open this up for me in terms of a vision. And what I get is, I want to be more of myself, but I can't do it. I can't seem to do it. I feel stuck. So there is a part of you that clearly is envisioning yourself to be so much more, but you're stuck. You're stuck in this perspective that you are in right now. And the more you struggle with it, the more you create resistance to it. And all I'm saying is, there is another way. And in order for you to find another way, stop being mad. Stop getting mad at the situation. Give yourself a break and start to reflect. And the question is this. Reflect on what is it that you are stuck on or with? And how are you contributing to this stuckness? Now again, this is gonna possibly raise some hairs on people's back and trigger some emotional triggers, because what we're really saying is, you have to acknowledge that you play a part in this stuckness. I talked about this at in the intro. Again, not from blame, but from the realization that you are a powerful being and you are creating part of it. Maybe that's a new way of looking at it. And maybe whatever it is that you are trying to get out of or release simply means shifting your perspective that you have about it, that will ultimately allow you to leave it behind and go on your way. Perhaps the realization that you are contributing to this stuckness will allow you to go, oh my God, I didn't know I was doing it. And the moment you realize, you drop it and off you go. So pile number 2, there is an opportunity for you to have a big, massive ass realization right now. It's huge. It's tremendous. And it's part of you closing a cycle, which means letting go of something old that has been plaguing you for likely lifetimes, certainly this lifetime, and releasing yourself from this burden in order to exchange that for something more. Not something less, something more. And there's a certain level of freedom I feel with that. And the image I get is the butterfly coming out of its cocoon. Now, my understanding is that when the butterfly begins to come out of its cocoon, out of its chrysalis, it's a very painful process. Why? Because it's been stuck there with its wings stuck, and as it begins to open up its wings that have been stuck and folded, it's very painful. Imagine being stuck in one position for many, many years, and all of a sudden having the ability to stretch. That's going to be very uncomfortable at first. Very new, potentially very scary. But that is what I see for you, pile number 2. And what I'm hearing is don't neglect yourself in the process. What does that mean? Don't deny yourself the opportunity to be something more. But I'm going to rephrase. You already are more. You're just not seeing it yet. There's a saying, I don't know who said it. You already are that which you are seeking. That is so true. That is so true. And for the average, and that's not a judgmental statement, that's just an observation. For an average person who doesn't have a certain level of understanding, it doesn't make any sense. What do you mean I am that which I'm seeking? You are that which you are seeking already. But because you cannot see it, because you cannot embody it, you cannot experience it. So don't neglect yourself in the process of becoming that which you already are, which is more than what you are currently experiencing. Now, if you're hearing this and saying, that's a whole bunch of bullshit, remember, I'm not asking you to accept anything that I'm saying, but it's worth looking at and going, maybe there is something to it. And since you are watching this, And those of you who will say that's bullshit, there's not going to be too many of you, because if you didn't vibrate on a certain level, you wouldn't be, this material wouldn't be in your face. That's just the way it goes, right? So you have some, at least basic understanding of how the universe works, that we are all energy, that we are just experiencing physical body, but we are not physical only. We are beyond physicality, but we are now focusing on our physical reality. Okay. Being more or embodying more of yourself requires your commitment to you. What does that mean? Commitment to self-growth, commitment to self-understanding, commitment to self-awareness. The question, who am I, is a relatively standard question, and people ask it various ways. I am a doctor, I'm a mother, I'm a son. Well, no, those are all functions you play. That doesn't tell me who you are. Well, I had these experiences. No, that's just telling me that you had experiences. But who is the you that's having these experiences? Because you are more than your experiences. You are more than the role that you play. You are more than your feelings. You are more than your thoughts. You are more than your beliefs. You are more than the body that you wear, or the body that you are in possession of right now. And when you begin to look at yourself that way, something remarkable and magical happens, because it's happened with me, and I've seen it happen with people I work with. You begin to realize that you are not this person and just this person. You begin to realize that you are so much more than the person you call yourself as I. And as if by magic, doors begin to open. You begin to have these massive realizations that what you have been identifying yourself as is, you are so much more than that. It's just that you have not been paying attention to it. So the things that you have been identifying as was primarily your focus, which is also a perspective. So pile number 2, there is a huge, big ass opening for you. And I can't even stress it more umphly how big it is. It's literally like you are about to step into a new world, a new version of yourself. But nobody, and I repeat, nobody's going to do it for you. You can't take a pill. You can't magically wave it away. You can't hire a healer who's going to erase all your problems. It does not work that way. You can have people help you, inspire you, guide you, help you transform, be your facilitators, which is what I do. Because they can see things that you may not have access to right now, but they cannot ultimately do it for you. That belongs ultimately to you, no one else. So the question then becomes, are you ready? I repeat, are you ready to feel great again? Are you ready to capitalize on your greatness? And I'm getting chills as I say this, so likely when you hear this, you're going to have chills all over your body, which means the message is getting to you vibrationally, because I'm just exchanging vibration with you. And if you're getting chills, it's hitting home. It's hitting you on a deeper aspect of you that you may not have awareness of. Are you ready to embody your greatness? Yes or no? And here's the beautiful thing. It's your choice. It is absolutely 100% your choice. And furthermore, nothing and no one is going to judge you for it. if you choose not to. It's simply your choice. It's called free will. One day you'll get tired of it and you'll say, fine, I'll do it. Here's the thing, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is begin to remember. And my job as Joanna, that volunteered to be on this earth at this particular time, with my gifts and ambitions and desires and tools and gifts, is to facilitate the process of you remembering that. And when you decide to step into your greatness, this is when you begin to feel the freedom you have been looking for. Is it easy? In principle, yes. In theory, yes. In experience, less so. Challenging. And that's because in order for you to step into your greatness, you have to release all the ways you identify yourself in limited ways, which means if you think of yourself as not good enough, it's gotta go. If you think yourself as inferior, it's gotta go. If you think of yourself as you don't have what it takes to experience this and that, gotta go. But you can't just simply throw it away. You have to transform it. You have to alchemize it. You have to alchemize those aspects of you that believe all those limited things. And that is a process in and of itself. Okay? Don't be afraid to do that. Fear is only what keeps you back, what keeps you small, what keeps you insignificant. And at the end of the day, fear is necessary. It absolutely serves our purpose in life. It helps us to remain in this physical world so we don't do dumb shit and leave too early. It helps us preserve life. But we are filled to the brim with a whole bunch of fears that, generally speaking, aren't even ours to begin with. They're borrowed. They're somebody else's. They're perceptions we have gotten so used to because of our conditioning. Okay. I am going to ask for a card to see if there's anything more specific. Yeah, you guys are... I keep hearing confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. I believe if you're pile 2 listening to this, we are giving you some massive confirmation on something you've been seeking, some knowledge, some awareness. Confirmation. So this is going to be a confirmation for many of you. All right. Linear thinking. Get out of your head. That's a hard one, isn't it? It is so hard. When we are too much in our heads and we think in terms of black and white, good or bad, evil, angel, we live in very polarized ways. And there's a reason why thoughts are being shown as the swords in the tarot. Because the mind is very sharp and swords cut through and divide. So it is your thoughts that keep you away from experiencing your greatness. And it's time for you to realize that, to acknowledge that, and to ask yourself, am I willing to look at my thoughts in order to step into a more expanded me. Now, if you are perfectly happy with where you are, this message is not for you. But it doesn't even mean that there has to be something wrong. It just means we're all shifting and changing. So as humanity, as consciousness itself, we are very much in the head and we have many limited thoughts, as humanity collectively. So there will always be something inside of us that is of a limited nature that we could be looking at in order to heal and transform. Okay? Many of you probably come from a very reason-based past. And reasoning is not bad, but we have reasoning and we have heart, right? And if we're only trying to look at life or live life based on our reasoning, and our reasoning is very limited, doesn't matter how smart you are or intelligent you are, reasoning is limited. It's only based on what you know. And there is so much more than what you currently know. That's a fact. So you're probably coming from a very reason-based place. Perhaps you come from being a skeptic. And by no means am I suggesting that you should be gullible. That would be dumb. Okay? Not asking you to do that. I am saying intellect is great, but beyond intellect, you have a heart who also speaks to you, your body that speaks to you, other senses that communicate with you, other beings that communicate with you, your intuition that goes beyond reason. Okay? So the idea of reasoning, very focused on reasoning. Again, nothing bad. The goal is to move being strictly from the head to also move into the heart and have a mind-heart connection. Okay? We have to be strategic in life. We don't want to be making dumb choices. So we need our reasoning for that. But the heart often knows what the mind cannot conceive of. And that's often when things don't make sense. Your intuition will often lead you with something that doesn't make sense to your logical thinking, and this is often when we get stuck. And many typically will go with the reasoning because that's where they feel safe or safer. Okay? I'll pull one more message for pile number 2. You are in the process of spreading your wings. Again, it's not a small thing. It is another way of me saying you are going through a transformation. And to transform something from one state to another takes effort. It is also where change happens. So transformation really denotes change. You are in the process of change. You are in the process of alchemy, inner alchemy. And inner alchemy is really act of inner transformation. Okay? Oh my God, are you kidding me? You got the same message as pile number 1. I've never had this happen. I've never had this happen. Again, observe your limitations. This is a message from Spirit. They're asking me to pay particular attention to the number 3, which to me is all about expansion, which is really what I was saying to you at the very beginning of this message. You are in a space where you are ready to step into more of the true you by leaving the stuckness behind, by doing some inner work, observing your limitations and how you contribute to your current stuckness in whatever area of your life. Okay? Is there anything else? 4 is all, okay, they're telling me April. So some of you may connect with April. April may be a significant month for you. April may be a month where you walk away from this stuckness or have walked away from this stuckness. Somehow April is significant. It may symbolize closing of a cycle, which could be that in April, you have a birthday in April, which begins a new cycle. There's an opportunity for you, pile number 2, to experience some grandness, a new beginning, some form of grand new beginning. And it seems to be circling around April, okay? So April somehow is significant to you. If it makes no sense to you right now, I am recording this in September 2022. Make a note maybe on your calendar in April 2023 and see if that is significant. It is, it has to do with closing a cycle. And whenever we close one cycle, brand new cycle begins, okay? It's very exciting. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. If you are desiring to tap into your infinite inner knowledge for the purpose of expressing yourself more fully, and you are not quite sure how to go about it, click on the link below and book a session with myself and my spiritual team, and we would be honored to help you on your journey. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Pile number 3. What I'm seeing for you is hope, greater sense of hope. And you are looking to the stars for help. And you are likely leaving your old obligations that are very 3D based in favor of taking a route or path that is way less conventional, okay? And I want to talk about spirit world with you. You are likely engaged and or will be more engaging in the whole idea of spirit world. Angels, intergalactic beings, higher consciousness. You may actually be one of those individuals who communicates with higher councils, Thoth, or beings of that nature. And this is something very significant to you. I feel that you have been working up to this for lifetimes. You are likely a healer, a channeler, a medium. You are having a bit of trepidation if this is in fact something that you should pursue, but your heart is really guiding you, okay? And I'm seeing, the vision I have is you are looking at a star, which represents to me other dimensions, and those other dimensions are looking at you, and they're like, come on, we're waiting for you, but it means that one second, okay, I have to write this down. They're saying that you are destroyer of truth, destroyer of conventional truth, the kind of truth that goes with having blindfolders on. You are destroyer of truth, which is symbolized to me by blindfolds. Okay, I don't know how else to express it. I think you'll understand. And your job is to cut through the cobwebs and through the BS in order to get to not the absolute truth, because we don't know what the absolute truth is. I mean, one of the absolute truths is that everything is vibration, but your job is to cut through the BS to get to the real truth. Not the convenient truth, but the real truth. And that's kind of sort of what I do. You know, everybody holds their truths. Everybody has their own truths. My job is to see the real truth, the deeper truth, the underlying truth. And there's layers and layers and layers. So you are likely a healer. It's time to get your combat boots on. And that statement is very significant. And what I'm hearing is you are a warrior of light. You don't fight. You encourage. Two different things. Because to fight something also means to create resistance. If you're fighting something, you're creating resistance, okay? You're not doing that. What you are doing is you are encouraging. You're encouraging others to look at something from the perspective of less conventional ways. And that's not an easy job. It's not an easy job for many reasons. One of them is people are used to thinking in conventional ways. And you are introducing them to think for themselves. Ooh, that's a big one. And to think for yourself means taking greater responsibility for one's self. So you are, in a roundabout way, teaching people how to proclaim their authority and their freedom, or reclaim, reclaim. And you do this with the sword, you do this with the mind, you do this with unconventional thinking. And what you are also doing is it's like you are transforming things in front of their eyes by using your own fire, power, spirit. And that's the best way that I can express it. This comes to me in a vision. I'm extracting how to say it. You're like a magician. You're like a magician. Now think of the idea of the magician in a tarot. The magician has all the tools in order to create something from nothing, right? And perhaps you are the magician. Perhaps your life theme is a magician. It's mine, by the way. Mine is the archetype of a magician. My life path, I believe, is the magician. So that the idea of a magician might be a key for you. And you are learning how to master the alchemizing process. Again, alchemy is transformation. And you are not only learning how to do that, and it's not a learning, it's perfecting it. You already know. You have the wisdom, but you are perfecting it. You have a certain wisdom that you brought with you in this lifetime, and you are perfecting this wisdom. You are also a bit of a showman or a showwoman. You might be working with art. You might be creating transformation with art in some way, shape, or form. Some of you, I see with horses. You're connected to horses. So horse may be something very significant for you. Horses also stand for freedom to me. They're very intuitive, very powerful, very healing animals. All animals are healing, but horses are very powerful. very intuitive. So obviously you are someone who's quite intuitive, but also very sharp mind. Okay. And you are cutting through the resistance, or you are helping to cut through people's own resistance. And you're not fazed with the fact that people may not believe in what you do. You're just like, okay, whatever. If it doesn't suit you, that's fine. Which I love, by the way. You're not getting fazed by somebody's inability to see your gift or your craft. Which tells me that you have learned how to be responsible for your own feelings and learned how to detach from other people's feelings. And from my experience, that is not a small feat. Okay, so I applaud you for that. I applaud you for that. Okay. And again, rather than forcing people to do things your way, you encourage. It's a huge underlined statement. You encourage. You don't force. You don't try to convince them. You encourage. And you don't stand in their way of finding their own solutions. Encouragement. You are someone who encourages people. You're a giver. You give a lot of yourself. As a matter of fact, because you give so much, I would just say make sure that you allow yourself to be given to be reciprocated. And here is a statement that is being asked of me to say. You come from the stars. You are a star being. You are likely an old soul, although I try not to label people that way because that's just, again, segregating young, old. I don't like doing that. But you are an embodied soul that is of a higher vibration. Okay? Doesn't mean you're better, just so you know, because that feeds the ego. But there's something like that within you and about you. And your own belief system will tell you that about you. There's something different about your own belief system. You come equipped with a certain knowledge that is beyond the standard status quo, and you've known this ever since you were young. You also may be connected to Hermeticism. You may have actually attended the School of Mystery in ancient Egypt. You may have worked with or do work with goddesses like Goddess Isis, Goddess Mat, Hathor. You may be very connected to ancient Egypt. You're very big into symbology. Okay? You are also very connected to Mother Nature. And I believe I'm saying this pile number 3 as a confirmation, to help you step into those shoes more fully. Okay? So I am going to ask for an additional message, and I feel like this message is going to be shorter. I just feel like I need to say these things to give you maybe a boost in confidence in what you're here to do. Refining galactic lineage. So notice what this says to you. What I'm getting here, just from the visual, is that within your awareness there is a lot of knowledge. Okay? Your path is to help bring people together. Okay? To help bridge differences, to help bridge polarities. Okay? You're also someone who is very much in his or her own world. It doesn't mean, I'm going to rephrase, you're not of this world, and most of us aren't, but you're here to live almost in your own world. I'm going to say it different, and not letting the outer world affect you. Okay? You may have some challenges with your solar plexus, and some of that may still need healing, which is the ego. Okay, so you probably have a hurt ego. You probably have some limitations that you are holding on to, which is all about ego. So there is a encouragement for you to look at that and find a way to stabilize your ego. Maybe your ego feels very unstable. Maybe your ego feels scared. Maybe it feels inferior or even superior. Although I don't get the sense, if that's the case, it's going to be like maybe for one or two people. It's more the inferior. Again, I'm hearing it's time to put combat shoes on. You are combat boots on. You are a warrior of light. But you're not fighting, you are encouraging. Okay? You may connect with Pleiades. I do. Pleiadians or Pleiades may be of significance to you. Okay? And you are helping people smooth their edges. So when edges are very sharp, we can get hurt. You're helping people smooth their edges so life is not as painful. That is a beautiful message. I don't know who you are, pile number 3, but you've got some oomph to you. Okay, I love it. 6 is 5 is 11. It brings the idea of balance. I'm getting also ambition. You're very ambitious. Balance. 11 is also justice. You are helping to realign, to bring forth new perspectives. And by doing so, you help to create the new. It's not a small job. And you will often have a lot of opposition, people looking at you sideways, saying that you're crazy. And if that's the case, get used to it. Einstein at first was thought to be having this ability, and he effectively changed the way we think in certain ways. Hidden realms. Okay. Create conscious awareness. Seriously, I can't make this up. This is what you're here to do. You come from other worlds in order to help humanity raise consciousness by encouraging them to look at things from a new perspective. Okay? That's you. And you are being encouraged to do that now. You're being looked after, and ego feels very prominent with you. Ego to me is all about higher perspective. Look at the symbology of the ego. Chances are you'll get more from that. And a lot of yellow is coming from here, which again, solar plexus. Okay, you've got the lion here. I've got the ego. You've got the skull, which is transformation. There is, I think that's a horse right there, right here, which is what I was seeing. You, alchemy, commitment, separation, or cutting through separation in order to create unity or to help create unity. And that always comes from within. Love it. Absolutely love it. So I would love for you to let me know how this connects with you, pile number 3, or all of you, by the way. And I look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye-bye. If you are desiring to tap into your infinite inner knowledge for the purpose of expressing yourself more fully, and you are not quite sure how to go about it, click on the link below and book a session with myself and my spiritual team, and we would be honored to help you on your journey. Thank you so much, and have a great day.